peach as my base color on the bridge of the nose, the kind of the eyebrow area. Now I'm going in with some light umber just to blend that peach in just a little bit. Like I said, this is a very slow process. If you've never done a portrait like this before, it does take hours. I just keep adding peach along the bridge of the nose, watching the direction of the hair, constantly looking at my reference photo to make sure that I'm going in the right direction and that I'm using the correct colors. I'll be skipping down to the bottom of the eye here too with some peach. Still rolling my pencil, making sure I have a point at all times. Adding peach down on the side of the cheek. Underneath the eyes, all peach too as my base color. And then I'll be adding beige on top of it. Probably some light umber as well. Putting peach over here, there's a light spot in the photo. Some more light umber just to give it a little bit of some mid-tone. Blend it with this darker area up here and down along the cheeks. I'm continuing to layer with my light umber just to make sure I have good coverage. And then up here by the nose, I see there's some. I'm going with my black. I'm going to add a few more dark tones in there. Some more light umber in this light area, kind of still making the hair. Some yellow ochre. Just adding a little bit of some tones around. Just so it's not a flat color. You don't want it to be a flat color in nature. It's usually pretty crazy. Their hair is usually dark on the bottom, light on the top, or sometimes it has like 3 tones to it. So right now I'm just working on trying to create that effect. Some more dark umber just to give it some texture. Darken that area again. Continue with flicking motions. Kind of like draw in between my strokes whenever I'm doing like a dark color and, you know, over a light color. I kind of draw in between, if that makes sense. Like if I see the paper through the lighter strokes, I kind of take my darker pencil and I kind of go in between, which gives it a nice hair effect. And then I don't have to worry about too many layers making it look muddy. Still adding my dark umber, trying to make more of a texture feel. And then I'm going to add white here and highlight just a little bit, really light strokes. I don't want to make it as bright as what's above this area. I just want it to be slightly lighter. And just little small strokes, really light, kind of blends it too. And if you look at the photo, some areas are a little bit lighter, so make sure you look at your picture because you want these little spots to stick out and you want the other spots to stay low, and it just creates that nice real effect that you want. Now I'm going to continue down the nose with the French Gray 50 again. I'm just adding some more mid-tones in there just to give it more of a natural feel, warm feeling. Some more dark umber. Again, I'm drawing in between my strokes, trying to give it that speckled look almost, because these hairs are short. Some more highlights. It's always fun to see these things come to life. I think my favorite part about the videos and even doing the artwork is when you just have the sketch down and you start turning it into a piece of art. Like how the one piece looks so three-dimensional and then the rest of it is still just line art. I think that is the coolest look. Someday I might just make one like that and just leave it that way because it just looks so neat, in my opinion. Now this is the light peach. And some light umber. I'm just trying to blend these in. You can see how it's coming together. Close up, it's kind of hard to see the whole picture, but look how fun it is already. course, we still got a lot of work to do, but it's already turning out really well. And please share what you have after we finish, or even after this tutorial. I'd love to see your work. Going back in with some black, just darken it up a little bit. This guy has a lot of battle scars on his nose. He's got a lot of weird spots. I'm doing some speckling in here because that's that short hair. Doesn't really have a direction. Keep switching back and forth between black and dark umber, just trying to blend these lighter areas and make it look more natural. We don't want any hard edges. I'm filling in this area with the dark umber as my base color. Blending it into the next line. Make it look natural. I'm adding some dark umber up in the eyebrow to create this shadow that's in the reference photo. I'm kind of blending this light spot into it. So it's not like a bright shape. I want it to look like hair. Back in with the black, sort of speckle motion, trying to blend this edge. I'm going to come back over underneath the eye, and I'm going to draw a little bit over top of this white highlight. I want it to look like the hairs are sticking out rather than it just being drawn. Darken this up a little bit. Just keep tweaking it. Going back and forth between black and dark umber and white, making highlights, lowlights, shadows, midtones. Continuing with the black still. Just trying to do my best to follow what the picture looks like. And yours may look different than mine. Some light umber to blend out this peach in here because it's pretty bright. More flicking motion. ochre. Has almost like an orangey, I think it kind of looks reddish. Trying to follow the direction of the hair. Make sure I get it accurate. And I'm just kind of going through with this burnt ochre, and I'm just, adding some midtones in different areas. If I look at the picture and I can see, the midtone, I'll lay it down as a base, and then I'll draw lighter over top of it. Now I'm still using the dark umber here. I'm trying to create the shadows to give it the look that the hair is kind of standing up, and so it doesn't look flat. I want it to look as 3D as possible and as realistic as possible. And as we know, like, animals get like tufts of hair, they stick out, their eyebrows stick out, sometimes their cheeks sink in. So we want it to look like that. So keep looking at your reference photo and make it as you see it. There seems to be a lot of dark umber in this photo with the lows, and I'm just going around each section, and I'm trying to add some just to make it look as close to the reference photo as possible. Going back in with the black, and I'm darkening up some of the areas that I put the dark umber in, but I'm not covering the dark umber. I'm just going through it and darkening little pieces of it. I don't want hard edges, and I don't want flat color, because if you get a flat color, that makes your picture look very flat, and you don't want it to be flat. If you're going for realism, layering with colored pencil is how you want to do it. And now I'm going in with my puny beige color. This is like what I have left. I need to go buy a new one, but I haven't been out of the house for quite some time. But this will work. Now I have a sharpener. I have an electric sharpener. I believe you pronounce it Tihoo, T-I-H-O-O. It does really good, but once your pencil reaches like the length of my little beige pencil, it doesn't sharpen it anymore. Now I'm going in with cream, just a little bit longer. But once they reach to a point that it's like an inch big, I start to use a hand sharpener, like a little one, like a kid's school sharpener, and it works really well. My dark umber is the same way, and I use a pencil extender for that. Now I'm going over the cream and the beige with some white, just to kind of pop out some of those colors to give it like a highlight so that it looks like it's sticking out. Again, some French Gray 50. I'm going kind of in between these to give the hair look. I'm giving them shadows so that they look like individual hairs. And now I'm going back with my peach. And just filling in the bridge of the nose. Now this is the point where it's really important to check the direction of the hair. I think that on cats and dogs especially, the direction of the hair and the nose and the bridge of the nose is so tricky, because if you don't get it right, it doesn't look right and people will pick it up. They'll see it, they'll know that it's not correct. So make sure you're looking at the direction of the hair. It's very important. I'm still continuing with my peach up into his forehead. Still looking at my reference photo to make sure I'm going in the right direction with my hairs. I will say that about 8 months ago I was quite heavy-handed, and this probably wouldn't have taken me as long as it's taken me on this one, but I've learned to discipline myself to not be so heavy-handed. If you go in real heavy, then you end up getting a muddy piece and you get frustrated because you can't add layers on top, and it makes it look really bad. So I'm still using the peach, and some of it's a little heavier. This is a lighter area. Longer hairs too. Still looking at my reference photo to make sure I'm going in the right direction. And I'm still using the peach. Rotating my pencil, making sure I have a sharp point. And also using a flicking motion to give it the appearance of hair. Now I'm back with my beige. And I'm just picking out some highlights that are in the reference photo. And focusing on them. Again, I'm still using the flicking motion. And rotating my little tiny pencil. Just pulling out some of these highlights over top of the peach. And that peach makes a really nice base color for this lion. Now I'm going to add in a layer of cream just to give it some more variety, color, because we don't want one color or two colors. It's always nice to have a variety so that it looks more natural. Now that I'm satisfied with the cream, I'm going to go back in with my burnt ochre, and I'm going to start adding some midtones in between my cream strokes. I'm looking at my reference photo and deciding where I want to go to next with this burnt ochre. Still with the burnt ochre, just kind of adding little strokes here and there to kind of give it more depth, more shadows, a little more warmth. Now once you're satisfied with the amount of, midtones you have with your burnt ochre, you can go ahead and move on. I'm just going to keep adding until I think it looks like the reference photo. I'd like to blend this eyelid a little bit in. Now with some light umber, I'm going to go in between again, all of my cream colors. Kind of blend the ochre and the cream together. Leave some of the cream shining through. Want to make sure that you know, it looks natural. I don't want it to be spotty. Now with some dark umber, I'm going to go in between just like I did below, and I'm going to create the shadows underneath the hairs. And it starts to get real dark up in this area. Still using the flicking motion with my dark umber, I'm creating the shadows in between the hairs. Also trying to create the temple area of the lion. I'm going to go back with some cream just to highlight some specific areas right around here where it's a little lighter in the photo. And I want to go back with the dark umber and draw in between. I'm still using the dark umber, drawing in between the cream strokes and all the lighter colors, blending it in. Working my way up to the forehead with my dark umber. Seems to be turning out pretty nicely. So far, I'm pretty excited about it. Still using the flicking motion, rotating my pencil. And keep checking your reference photo to make sure that you are on the right track with the hair and the direction that it goes. Still using my dark umber. These hairs on the forehead are a little bit longer, so the strokes aren't as short or quick. But in between them, the dark umber makes really nice shadows. It's a little darker up here at the top of the forehead, and it gets even darker. So just make sure you look at your picture, your reference photo, and make sure that you're putting the right amount of shading or darker tones up there. Now switch back over to the burnt ochre and add it in to all these areas that I was just working on. Now I'm going back with the cream. And I think a lot of this I missed. Yesterday my iPad died when I was recording, and I didn't mean for it to. I didn't realize it was like that, but I just went ahead and I used dark umber in the middle, the bridge of the nose, kind of up on the forehead, and I colored it all in dark umber. And I've just been going through tweaking with beige, white cream, some peach, and some light umber I see in there too. Now I'm taking the cream color down the bridge of the nose. I'm just trying to highlight little hairs just to make it look a little brighter in this area. Now I'm coming back in with the white, and I'm just going to highlight a little bit around the forehead and the nose, and not line like a line. I just want individual hairs to be highlighted. I just want to be very careful about where I put these highlights. If you look at the reference photo, he's not that bright on his face, but he does have some spots that are brighter than others. I'm going to make sure you get those. Now I'm going to use my favorite color, the goldenrod, and I'm just going to come in and try to warm it up a little bit so it's not so bright, but has a little bit of this orangey brown color. It took me so long to find someone who sells this specific pencil in a store. They don't sell, like some stores will sell loose pencils, but they don't carry certain ones. And I went to Hobby Lobby and they didn't have it, but Michael's had it, so I got lucky. Now I'm going back in with the black, and I'm going to try to blend it a little bit. Draw in between the lines, and this dark area up here I'm going to end up putting more black in. Again, using the flicking motion, rotating my pencil, looking at my reference photo to make sure I'm going in the right direction. And the dark umber underneath the black always makes it look really nice. It's not so flat. In the bridge of the nose, there's a lot of different markings. So I'm just kind of sporadically going through and blending and trying to give those battle scars to him that he has all over his nose. Back in with the dark umber, trying to blend all these lines out, drawing in between the creams and the white, and just trying to give it some more depth, textury feel. Now I'm adding some more goldenrod just because it's my favorite color. I really like the way it looks on his fur. There's some beige just to pick out some highlights. Now this area is not very bright on the reference photo, but I'm just going through and pulling up some highlights anyway, just to sort of blend it so it's not such a hard transition between the two colors. So as I finish up this first part of this tutorial, I would appreciate your feedback. Would you like shorter tutorials? Are you okay with the hour-long tutorials? Do you want me to speed up the process in between rather than doing real time? I'd really appreciate it if you got back to me on that. I'd like to see what you create and just share it with me. because this is all new to me. So I'm excited to start out doing this. It's quite a bit of fun. I enjoy it. But I'd like to produce content that you want to see and that you want to follow specifically. And I'm still just bouncing back and forth between black and the dark umber. Just still creating this shadow on his forehead. And that about sums it up for this episode, and you will have to join the next one and see what we get done.